The story begins with Albert Lewis, an astrophysicist and a single father. Albert lives with his young son, Adam. After the death of his wife, Annie, Albert becomes emotionally distant from his son. One day, scientists discover that a mysterious comet is approaching Earth. The comet is expected to pass very close to the planet and cause major disturbances for 9 days, affecting electricity, communication, and modern technology. Albert is asked to travel to the Himalayas to study this unusual phenomenon. He decides to take Adam with him. They travel to a remote location and stay in an isolated bungalow. At first, it seems like a simple scientific mission, but soon, strange things begin happening around them.
The bungalow is looked after by an old caretaker named Haka. Because of the comet, the area slowly becomes cut off from the outside world. Electricity and communication systems stop working, leaving Albert and Adam almost completely isolated. During this time, Albert meets a mysterious young woman named Eva. There is something unusual about her, but Albert becomes interested in her. Adam, however, immediately feels that something is wrong with Eva. He warns his father to stay away from her, but Albert doesn't take his warning seriously. As the comet gets closer to Earth, the atmosphere around the bungalow becomes increasingly strange. Albert starts experiencing disturbing events, and he begins to question whether what he is seeing is actually real.
Adam continues to distrust Eva, while Albert becomes more involved with her. At the same time, painful memories from Albert's past begin returning. He still carries the emotional pain of losing his wife, Annie. Deep inside, Albert has a feeling that Adam was somehow connected to the tragedy that took Annie away from him. Eva seems to understand this weakness and begins using his guilt against him. Adam notices that his father is changing and tries to protect him, but Albert finds it difficult to separate reality from what may be happening inside his own mind. As the mysterious 9-day phenomenon continues, strange events become more frightening. The question now is whether Eva is a real person or something much more dangerous. Albert's mental state continues to deteriorate. He starts seeing things that may not actually be happening. Dr. Inayat Khan becomes concerned about Albert and suggests that his psychological condition could be affecting what he sees. This raises an important possibility. Perhaps Eva is not a real woman at all, but a creation of Albert's troubled mind. However, the movie never gives us a simple answer. Eva appears to know things that seem impossible for a hallucination to know. She also appears connected to the strange events happening around the comet. Meanwhile, Eva begins attacking Albert's deepest emotional weakness. She makes him believe that Adam is responsible for Annie's death. Albert starts losing control as his love for his son becomes mixed with anger, guilt, and grief. Albert becomes increasingly confused about his son. On one side, he wants to protect Adam, but on the other side, his old pain makes him question him. Eva continues manipulating Albert by bringing back memories of Annie. Adam realizes that he may lose his father and desperately tries to make him understand the truth. Slowly, Albert begins to realize that Adam was never responsible for Annie's death. The real problem was the guilt and grief that Albert had carried inside himself for years. Eva was using that pain to control him. Albert finally chooses his son and decides to protect him. But before he can escape, he must confront Eva and whatever force may be behind the strange events surrounding them.
Albert tries to break free from Eva's influence and reach Adam, but Eva continues to attack his mind. She appears through the memories and image of Annie, forcing Albert to relive the pain of losing his wife. This time, however, Albert refuses to surrender to his guilt. He realizes that Adam is not his enemy. Adam is his son, and protecting him is now the most important thing in his life. Albert confronts Eva and fights to save Adam. Meanwhile, the mysterious 9-day comet phenomenon is reaching its final stage. The strange events around the bungalow begin coming to an end. Albert and Adam manage to survive, but one major mystery remains. Who or what was Eva really?
Eventually, the 9-day phenomenon comes to an end, and the comet passes Earth. Albert and Adam survive the terrifying experience, but the events they witnessed cannot simply be explained as a normal scientific phenomenon. There are still clues suggesting that Eva may have been more than a hallucination. Adam also seemed to know things about her that Albert could not understand. At the same time, Albert's psychological problems make it possible that some of what happened existed only inside his mind. The movie deliberately keeps both possibilities alive. Eva may have been a supernatural or unknown entity connected to the comet, or she may have been a manifestation of Albert's guilt and trauma. The truth is never completely revealed. In the end, the biggest change happens between Albert and Adam. After losing Annie, Albert had spent years emotionally distancing himself from his son. But after everything they experienced together, Albert finally understands how important Adam is to him. However, the mystery of Eva remains. Ancient drawings discovered in a cave seem to suggest that a strange female-like entity may have existed long before the events of the movie. This creates one final question. Was Eva only a hallucination created by Albert's troubled mind? Or was she an unknown supernatural force connected to the comet? The movie leaves the answer open for the audience to decide. Ultimately, 9 is not just a science fiction thriller. It is also a story about grief, guilt, a father's love, and the mysterious things humans may never fully understand. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Maluflix for more hidden Indian movie stories and unforgettable cinema. Maluflix, stories that stay.